We're talking trees, right?
We're talking trees.
We're talking trees.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess my memo, sparked some interest, and that's what we wanted to do,
Bye, David.
and it's important. So I'm here to talk about the memo about removing trees at the Bob Gold Park. Would you like me to talk about it first, or do you want me to answer questions?
No, why don't you explain it, give us an
Sure.
overview and.
So I did send a memo, but I also brought some other facts too. So we have 12 red maple trees that we planted about 30 years ago down at the Bob Gold Parklet. Most of the trees look healthy, but right now, if you get down there, they're very crowded. The front row along the sidewalk, which is the front 3 trees, are growing into the power lines. If you go down there, you'll see they're completely shrouding the power lines at this point. The roots are exposed and creating tripping hazards in some areas. We plan to in order to optimize tree health and vigor, we want to thin out the stands. That includes the removal of the 3 planted under the power lines and 5 of the remaining 9 maple trees. That will leave 4 well-spaced trees. I'm reading some of this from my arborist here. We have exposed roots from the trees that are in the ground underneath the picnic tables that create tripping hazards, and we want to ground those down after we remove the trees. So we're willing to hold off on this. We're also willing to get another opinion. I've scheduled Wayne Cahilly, who's a consultant and a regional expert, to come in on Monday at 1 o'clock and review our plan and to give us either an alternate plan, back the plan, or tell us what his opinion is. Okay.
So my understanding is that if you were to leave the trees as they were, we've got 2 issues. Number one, well, we've got several issues. So I'm just going to reiterate. We've got tripping hazard.
Yep.
We have a threat to our power and data lines.
Correct.
And in fact, Con Ed or whomever the data provider is might come along and say we have to cut those trees anyway, and they wouldn't do that in a very nice way.
That's correct.
And primarily the health of the trees themselves. And I imagine that's why you're having a second expert.
The 12 trees are too many trees for that small space. Mm-hmm. And, many times when we put 12 trees down, they don't survive. Turns out all 12 survived. Mm-hmm. And they're beautiful trees. They create a nice canopy. It's a very shaded area. We all agree with that. My arborist and the forester for the town, they're the last people in the world that want to take trees down. Mm-hmm. But what they're saying is that by taking down these 8 trees, the remaining 4 trees will flourish, create a much larger canopy, and the root system can then develop underneath there.
Mm-hmm. So ultimately, there'll be plenty of shade. It'll just have to give it a little time.
They actually think the shade will be the equivalent from the 4 trees that there will be from the 12 trees, but it does take time.
Is there any opportunity to replant any of the trees?
They don't suggest that, because what they're
the
looking
age of
at
the
is
tree?
they're looking at the size of the acreage there. It's very small, and those 4 trees that will remain will actually flourish if you plant more trees.
No. The trees that you're removing to replant.
Elsewhere, we are planting trees right and left.
No, the trees that you're taking out.
They're way too large.
They're too large to do that
They're
with.
too large. Those would have to be taken out. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So what is the controversy?
No, well, basically, there's no controversy. Basically, I've been in touch with Joe, all weekend. We're going to get a second opinion, which is good. I posted something on the website.
Yeah, which we didn't think was really necessary because we're concerned for people misunderstanding.
No, because we got some really good feedback from residents.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't get the post. That's right, because my name was removed.
No,
I don't know. I didn't get that. I found
We
out
didn't
about
get
it
it.
afterwards.
We didn't receive it.
everybody should have gotten it.
No.
because if you subscribe to
I
the
usually
email,
do, but I did not get that one.
So.
But if we have our own arborist, we're paying an arborist, what do we need another opinion for?
Because
And we also
because
have
people
the Parks
people
Department.
First of all, people freak out when trees are being cut. Anytime trees are being cut, they freak out. There's a lot of people who really love the trees. There's people who said that they really enjoy this park because there's shade. This park has an awful lot of shade. There's people on 100 East Hartsdale Avenue. They're upset because for the past few months they've been inconvenienced because of the sewer break. So they've been using the park just to relax and enjoy themselves.
Well, I think we
No, let me
can
just-
wait. I think we can, just to respond to that, we can wait until the sewer is repaired, correct?
Right. But let me just say.
Why are we spending extra money? I think the question, Paul, if you can just answer, why are we spending additional funding if we have those same services in-house? I'm just a little confused. Why would we be spending additional funding if we don't have to, if we offer those same services in-house?
Because there's some people in the community who basically are upset that trees are coming down, they like the park as it is.
Well,
So-
I think
so-
there are some
okay,
very
no,
good
no, no, no,
reasons
no, but-
why,
but
which
people-
the commissioner just explained very carefully why those trees have to come down. It's for the long-term health of all the trees. If the trees don't come down, all the trees will likely die. So plus we have a tripping hazard and a liability hazard for the people living on East Hartsdale Ave who are using them. So I think that's why instead of getting people's fears ginned up ahead of time, we now can post what the commissioner has said, especially
Had a
if
full
we're-
explanation of all of the
Right.
reasons why. And
In
I think we
addition
need
to the
to
video.
trust our Parks Commissioner and our arborist to be giving us good advice, just like we need to trust our staff in general and our commissioners, et cetera, to give us good
Okay,
opinions.
let me just answer. First of all, I sort of feel that, a lot of people don't trust government. That's all over. So the thing is, people are going to see all of a sudden all these trees coming down. We're looking at removing 8 trees. So my goal was to do everything possible to show people that we're being extra careful, much more careful than we have to be, so people will have confidence in the process.
Well, whether we showed them last week before they had a full explanation, or this week with a full explanation, I don't understand with the delay. It's equally as transparent. We had this conversation back and forth,
but let me just say-
and you still
but-
felt
no,
it
because
necessary to
let me say-
post
no,
despite
wait,
the fact that it
because
was
I
more logical
basically-
not to.
No, because I basically want to be super transparent, super
It
open.
would be
Let me say-
transparent.
Super open, and I like getting.
It would be
input.
super
So
open.
I've called everybody who emailed me back.
Why do we
and
keep
let me just
underhanding
wait.
our town
Instead
staff
of
if we have
wait,
the services in-house?
no.
If we have our town staff
We're not-
that can, because and supervisor, you always mention that we want to make sure that we're mindful of our spending. So with that being said, I'm just trying to understand, why are we spending extra dollars? And I promise you, anyone who continues to say that they don't trust town government, they're not going to trust town government because you're giving an implication that you shouldn't trust town government. So I guess my question again to you would be, why would we spend additional monies, if we have that same town staff who's going to provide a report to show the reasoning just based on what the Commissioner of Parks just said, Commissioner Lucchese just mentioned, that this is the reason why that we have to cut these trees down. Like, this is the benefit of us cutting these trees down. Not that we just all of a sudden willy-nilly just deciding to cut trees down. This is the reasoning and this is the evidence behind, based on what our analysis is of why we're cutting down trees. I'm just concerned that we're spending extra money. We're in areas that we don't have to if we have these in-house services.
Well, we might be able to save money because basically first of all, the arborist that we're going to be reaching out to worked for the New York Botanical
free?
Garden. No, he worked for the New
free?
York. Let me wait. Instead of interrupting,
No, he's free.
wait,
I
you're
just
just
want you to
interrupting me.
say-
Let me. Can I finish my? Well, I'm saying
Oh,
is,
sure,
let me
absolutely,
finish my
absolutely.
sentence without being interrupted. The
Absolutely.
arborist that we basically are hiring, or that we're recommending, has done work for the town. A second person, he's also worked for the New York Botanical Gardens. So he basically has, no, he's worked for he does it professionally. So he's a professional person who loves trees,
Oh,
who basically
Aaron's not
loves the
professional?
environment, and maybe what
Is
he'll
that-
do.
does his-
No, you're not
Not
letting,
any different
you're just
than
interrupting me. Why, well, let me ask you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just,
I'm sorry.
just let me finish, and then you could say whatever you want. So,
problem.
so
Go
basically, all I'm saying is, I'd like to get an opinion. He may say, instead of cutting 8 trees, you could cut 6 trees, and it will save you thousands of dollars because we're cutting fewer trees.
And then we'll need a
But-
third
but-
opinion.
but-
Then we'll need a third opinion
No.
to break the tie.
Then, no, but I'm saying, I would feel more comfortable getting a second opinion on this because I know, because I've been in touch with some of the residents who are concerned about some of the trees coming down.
Well,
So I
they
would just
wouldn't
like,
be if
for
we
me,
had not
everybody,
posted it without
everybody
more
has a comfort
information.
level. You know, I would like, when you're doing something that's impacting the quality of life for residents, I'd like to feel better that we're doing everything humanly possible to get.
We are concerned about the quality of life,
I'm not
and we
questioning-
don't want people tripping and getting
But
hurt.
you know what, maybe,
Right.
I'm gonna
I think we're
go,
undermining our
Well,
staff
you know
because
what?
we're not allowing. our
You're
staff to
implying that our
utilize their
staff is
professional
not
experience.
professional.
you know what, the other thing I did is I reached out to the Conservation Advisory Council. They basically took, we had 4 members stop by. They said that they wanted to, they thought that it made
They
sense what
agreed
you're
with our
recommending. Yeah,
arborists. They
right.
agreed.
We probably had 2 or 3 people who had some concerns. One of the thoughts that I had was for Joe to put up a sign at the park explaining the reasons why the Parks Department is recommending that the trees come down. Have like a visual how the park is going to look when the trees
Fine, that's fine.
are down.
That's
so
fine.
people
Belabor
can see
this.
it.
Let's
Yeah.
Because I
move
sort of
on.
feel.
Okay,
Okay,
that's a
that's
good
fine.
idea,
We know
Paul,
how
good
you
idea.
feel.
I just want to add, I think Councilwoman Hendricks was bringing up the fact that we have the sewer district work that's being done down there. So if we want to postpone this until that's finished, that would be a good idea because it would alleviate the traffic problems. Because there will be traffic problems when trees are coming down. Having the sewer district at the same time being, all that work being done. So
Right.
I'm not sure exactly what the time frame is when that's going to be over.
So we have we have 5 opinions, because you said 4 members of the CAC,
I think all 5 members.
or 5
actually
members,
agreed.
so we have
Yeah,
6
5 members.
opinions
Yeah.
that this is the thing to do.
Right.
So but you would still like to have this, this gentleman
His
come,
name- his
at
name's
what
yeah.
does that cost, Commissioner?
I think we're paying him about $90 an hour. He's the person that goes through once every year or 2 and then marks off trees that we have to take down throughout our entire park system.
So he's worked for the
he's
town
He's
before?
worked for the town before. He works for us almost every year to set the amount of trees we have to take down. So I could call him off, but as of right now, 1 o'clock on Monday, I have him scheduled to come in and take a look at
And
it.
how about how long will it take for him to evaluate that?
He could probably evaluate this whole situation probably in about an hour.
Okay,
If I ask him,
okay, so we'll get the 6th
It's
opinion.
going to cost the
Right.
taxpayers
That's
maybe
fine.
$200.
I do,
No,
yeah,
no,
but it would
90.
be more, it's going
90.
to be a little more expensive if you want some kind of a rendering done about what it's going to look like, because I don't have anyone
Well,
on
that's a
staff
separate,
that can do that.
that would be
So I
something
mean,
separate.
I'm not sure I wanted to go down that road. I understand your sign, put a sign
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But whether or not we have the staff members to actually figure out what it's going to look like after the trees come down, I don't.
Can I just mention why I think that?
We know
would
why
make
you think
sense?
it.
Because
Yeah.
I remember when I first got elected, this was the first park that I was responsible for pushing.
Mm-hmm.
This was, about
It
30
was
years
the
ago. Right.
Robeson Oil
Yeah, right.
before.
So I
And you-
worked
and
really
you
hard.
obviously pushed for too many trees.
No,
Right?
No,
There was poor planning. There's no doubt. What happened was, there was poor planning, too many trees went up to make it seem like it was going to be, better canopy than it could be. But the trees grow, and now we're faced with the problems from that big push to have those trees there. I just find it repulsive that we have
need to go
professional
over this.
staff, a certified
Just
arborists,
Wendy's here.
who worked
Yeah.
really hard on a tree law that is second to none with other people, CAC as well. There's nobody that can accuse the town of not being basically tree huggers. But we also have to face the fact that even if people don't want trees to come down, and then the roots cause a trip hazard, those same people who trip over that are gonna file a notice against the town because we didn't take care of the trees. So we have to, sometimes in government, you gotta do things that may not be immediately popular, but it's the right thing to do.
Right, okay.
And what I find not the right thing to do is every time our staff, our professional staff, such as our certified arborist, who has done extensive work in forestry, comes up with opinion, let's get a second opinion, right? Whether or not it's our town attorney comes up with an opinion. Let's get a second opinion about our town attorney's opinion. And we could go down the line with our staff. And at some point, the people don't, as Councilman Jackson said, people don't trust government because you give the impression you can't trust them, because that's why we're going to go and get a second opinion or a third opinion or a sixth opinion. And at some point it just has to stop.
Okay, well, yeah,
Right. Otherwise, we don't need to have the professional staff we have, and then every time something comes up, we just hire outside people.
Okay, well, it's up to the board, whatever the board wants to do. I think that I felt people would be more reassured if we got a second opinion. If you don't want to do it, that's fine.
Well,
Then
how
we'll
long
move
is
on
it gonna
another
take,
issue.
the sewer
It's an
project's
hour,
gonna take,
so
no,
it's not-
the sewer project,
Oh, the
how's it
sewer
gonna
project,
take?
sorry.
Many months,
Yeah,
right?
about
So
2
we have
months.
plenty of time to,
Right.
okay, so let's,
I think people need information. What was put out initially was, we're just gonna take down trees, and there was no real explanation that was actually associated with that. I think, the people are reasonable people. They will understand if you tell them what the issues are, that eventually they're gonna strangle each other, the trees are gonna strangle each other. I mean, these are just things that have to happen. And it's true, they should not have planted that many trees when there was a big push for the park.
Well, we did
and
have
the
a
trees
contest.
on the park.
We had a
And
landscaping contest, do you
now
remember?
we have a problem.
Yeah,
What's
first,
that?
I just want to say, when we designed the park 30 years ago, we had a contest, the community was involved, there was a bidding process, we had a whole group of people interviewing different landscapers, isn't that true?
No, and we had
And-
12 tiny trees
and we had
there.
a lot of the community participate, but the thing is, we did plant trees at that time, and it turned out that the trees were healthy and grew, and that's what happens. But you know what? The most important thing is, when I do my outreach with the community, and you hear from a whole bunch of people, and people say, I have some concerns. The more we tell people we're bending over backwards to go the extra mile for them, that we're double checking, we're triple checking, we have to do this, and we're giving them reasonable explanations, then I would guess that at the end of the process, if the trees come down, nobody's going to say, I can't believe what the town did, because there's
people will still say that regardless,
No,
okay?
because, but you know
Sorry.
what?
Actually, I would
They
think
probably
that if
feel
you
like
said
we
to
keep
them, we have
undermining
a
our staff.
certified arborist
No.
on staff, and that certified arborist has done tremendous amount of work in preserving trees, but on this particular site, he recognizes to preserve the trees, you have to
Call them.
decrease the number that's on the site, and that's the opinion of our certified arborist, as opposed to saying, you know what, our certified arborist, probably you didn't even tell them we had a certified arborist. The staff, we can get a second opinion.
Well-
And of course, then they'll say, well, let's get a second opinion.
It's not just
But-
one arborist either, it was also the forester too. So it was Aaron Schmidt, it was Sab
And then we have the
DeGiorgio.
forester.
We have town
I mean, if there was
Okay.
ever an example of unanimity on an issue that would not need us to go to get somebody else that's going to say the same thing.
You know what, I
I
understand.
just can't keep doing that to our staff. because, you know, there's a lot,
I did-
our staff works really,
I-
really
Pro-
hard.
I did-
providing-
I understand.
providing
May I-
good
may I-
information is very important,
I understand why Paul
obviously.
is
Right.
vested in this because he said it was the first part that he created. So it's really
Absolutely.
Paul's concerns. And he expressed his concerns to others in the community, and they, based on the input they got from him before they had the full explanation, then responded accordingly the way he's concerned. But
No, I never
again,
said
I
had
would
concerns. I
submit,
never had any- I never
again,
said-
I would
I never gave
submit
my, let me say.
that I would, then
I never
I,
gave
you're,
an
and then
opinion.
I would submit that if it had waited 1 week with a further explanation, then it would have gone a long way to allaying fears. But Councilwoman Haber is correct. There will be people that haven't heard it or didn't read it, and they will be concerned. So I think your idea of putting a sign up is a very good one.
Now, can we wrap up this? We have someone waiting in
Sure,
the audience who
absolutely,
needs to speak. I think we have a plan. We're going to wait anyway because of this.
Right.
So, okay.
All right,
So then, we're not, the board, the consensus of the board is they don't want to have a second opinion. Is that the?
It's
is
not that we don't want one,
We
it's
don't
that
feel
we
it's
don't need
necessary.
one.
No, well, I
I don't
disagree
feel
with
it's necessary. I would like to trust the town staff that we invest.
Okay.
Especially if you've had the conservation
CAC.
CAC people
The CAC
also
did come out.
agreeing with the
Who's
opinion.
part of the
Whatever you want.
community.
Whatever you
Okay,
wanna do.
all right.